first, and I'm going to focus on this area. And is it here?
Actually.
Okay. All right. Tell you what, I'll just do a bunch right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I am going to start with the glands here, the major glands up here anyway, for a little bit. People I've worked on previously, which would be Burl and Gail, I don't know if you've had a chance to look in the mirror in the bathroom or anything yet, but if you have, you may notice a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And in the days ahead, you may notice something too. So it might be a question to you too, is how do I know when the energy is being received and taken in and mobilized and activated and all that? I start to feel a particular pulsing at my fingertips, and it's its own type of pulsing, yeah. And once you've done it, once you feel it, you know it when you feel it.
So
And
have you
pardon me?
ever worked on anybody and you haven't felt it?
It's been slower with some people, and usually that's because there's something else going on. They're really worried, or they're the majority of their psychic energy is going on with something else, and they're not able to let go. And again, they don't have to be the equivalent of a saint or or a Buddha, but there's a critical mass of letting go. Okay, and we're all human. We're all going to have various thoughts going through our mind, even in a relaxed state. So again, just the willingness to receive even a little bit. That's all we need. And then once the process starts, then they start to just fall into a deeper and deeper state where, again, quite often asleep, certainly altered. And that's where the deepest healing happens. So I'll say this though, and again, there's no hard and fast rules about this, but that's generally true, is that I have had some people that they've gotten good results, and they've talked all the way through the session, But I would say they're the exception. Most people tend to get more if they're not talking and they let themselves drift off a little bit, and different things happen with their system. That can happen with a few people while they're talking. And so I try to pay very careful attention to what's happening. So sometimes I'm not above saying to somebody, it's like, I'm really interested in what you're saying, but maybe we talk later? And right now, at least for a while, try not talking. And I definitely encourage people to close their eyes. And yeah, it's possible people get results with their eyes wide open, but it's going to be better as a rule of thumb if their eyes are closed. And this has been mapped scientifically as when we close our eyes,
Alpha and theta. Yeah.
What is it?
The alpha and theta.
Alpha and
Theta.
they double as
Yeah.
soon as you close your eyes. Those are the brainwaves indicative of
Healing.
healing.
Yeah, you make less mucus. You go. Your cells start to heal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I definitely, that's one, if people are what I call lit, or their eyes even seem to be open extra wide for them. And so that's when the process is going to take longer. So if I can get them to just very carefully, I build as much rapport, and then when I think that they're going to be open to it, could you just try closing your eyes for a little bit? And by that time, usually they're willing to do that. And a lot of those people just fall right off to sleep. course, they'll swear later they weren't asleep.
Mhm.
And I don't really care if they're actually asleep or if they're in a sleep-like state. But does snoring count?
In hypnosis it does.
John and I are Trekkie fans.
Yes.
And there's a thing, Landru, you remember that one? Where the guy is in his machine and he's supposed to be absorbed. And the guy goes, "It is done, you are now absorbed."
I don't remember that one, but.
Landru.
And at the end of every session with Nick, I say that. I don't say that to everybody.
But what's interesting, John, is how much different you look after each session.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
You get, just like you get lighter.
Ah,
Mhm.
okay, okay. Yeah, you know, people ask, they say, well, even when I've had some very long days here, even my longest days, I would say I feel normally tired, but I don't feel drained.
Right.
You know, in fact, there's some days that have been my longest days, I actually feel elated. And so, you know, and of course, I mean, I did eat, or I did break, and I did eat, and I did drink water, and, you know, I probably slept well the night before, and things like that. But, yeah, so I don't, when people say, well, doesn't this drain you? Well, no, it doesn't. But, you know, it's like, if I do a lot of sessions in a day, 8 would be a lot in a day, by the way.
But you look more drained when you come in after fighting the traffic in the morning than you do after.
Exactly.
That's draining.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. I feel that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's very rewarding work. I mean, I'm sure that's part of it too, is because I love helping people and to know that they've been helped, and many times immediately or shortly thereafter. Something that's been an issue for them is, if not resolved, it's certainly helped and on the way to being resolved quite often. And so that's of course a wonderful and very deeply contenting and rewarding feeling. Okay, so about right here is one of the areas you mentioned, right? And here? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna spend the balance of our time. I guess 95 minutes was maybe, I don't know, have to adjust that next time. I don't know.
Well, maybe we distracted you a bit.
Pardon me?
We talked quite a bit.
I'm sorry?
We talked to you quite a bit.
Yeah, but that's good. No, I'm just gonna say this while I still continue to work on Christine. And that's one of the things I have been doing this long enough, I can talk to you and continue running energy and working on her. When I was very first learning this, that wasn't the case, but now I can do that. I've really enjoyed this evening. I want you all to know that. It's been wonderful for me.
We love
Thank
you.
Oh, thank you. I love you all. Yeah, I really feel the support of all of you. Thank you so much.
It's been great, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I guess if we hadn't done our part, it might have been just dry, huh?
Yeah,
Just you talking.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, there is something I haven't mentioned yet. I think in my other talks I did mention it, but I'll mention it again now. Is even though this is shorter sessions, I would like everybody, if you can, is to take either an Epsom salt bath or an Epsom salt foot bath. Because the Epsom salt does help to draw toxins out of your system. When there's a strong healing action in your body, your cells want to take in nutrients, but they also will be pushing out toxins. So both go on, and so the Epsom salts helps that process. And as you know, drink plenty of water and get plenty of sleep and those things.
Right, the cells throw up a little bit.
So should we do that tonight?
That would be best if you could, and if you can do it tonight, then tomorrow would be best. So you might wonder, how much Epsom salts? Well, I would say to a full tub of water, you should use, this is a rule of thumb, but you can start off with 2 pounds. I use 4 regularly myself, and there's times when I use more than that. 6, I've even used 8 if I was really hurting. I would use 8. So most of the time I use 4.
That's a lot.
4 pounds?
I know, it's a whole package, and
Yeah.
most of it's in
It
4
works,
pound.
though. It really draws
Yeah.
a lot of toxins out.
I was thinking a quarter cup.
Well, I
Well,
was thinking
that's what it
couple
says on the
of cups.
package, they'll
He's
say
like,
cup or
"Pound."
something like that.
Full tub,
Yeah.
And I find the therapeutic level is 2 pounds and up. And there may be exceptions, if somebody is extremely sensitive, maybe 1 pound would do, or a cup or 2 would do.
How about a foot, the cup for the.
Pardon me?
You just soak your
Foot
feet.
bath.
Oh, I'd probably, well, how big is the basin that it's in? You know, so if it's a little tub-like basin, where you'd fit, what, 2 or 3 gallons in it?
3 toes.
3 toes? You know, say if it's deep enough, it could come up to your ankles or mid-calf, then I'd probably want to use 1 pound, you know, and that would be a good concentration there, yeah.
Of what?
Epsom salts.
Epsom
Epsom
salts.
Yeah, yeah. So, I do have elderly clients that it might be an issue for them getting in and out of a bathtub. And so I don't want to have a risky situation for them. So usually they'll do the foot bath, and that's pretty good.
The one time I didn't notice what I bought. I bought Epsom salt eucalyptus. sitting in it.
Oh, yeah.
And
That must
I
have been-
put it in there, and all of a sudden, I start itching, and I start getting a rash.
No.
It was just
You
too
yeah.
strong. And I was like, oh, what the heck? I
Yeah.
looked at oh.
That's also the way you get rid of fleas.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eucalyptus.
Yeah.
What?
It's a good way to get rid of fleas.
Should have put my dog in
Really?
there with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
My
okay,
cat.
that's good to know.
Yeah, it's a good way to get rid of fleas.
Yeah, eucalyptus.
Eucalyptus. What if you just what if you smudged your house with eucalyptus? Would that
That's
help?
pretty hard on your lungs.
Oh,
Back in the 60s,
Okay.
70s, we used to use eucalyptus chains and things around our neck, our
Right.
feet, just to keep the
Yeah.
fleas out.
Yeah,
We
the
just
buzz
go
off.
collect
Oh.
eucalyptus.
You get the pods and you can make a necklace
Right.
and then
Uh-huh.
put around your pet
Okay.
and it'll
The
keep the
old-fashioned
fleas
flea
The
off.
only
Huh?
problem
The
is
old-fashioned flea.
Yeah, the old fashioned flea
it's
collar,
an
yeah.
invasive thing, it's not a natural.
Yeah.
Eucalyptus isn't natural in California. It
No,
was
I
brought
heard
in
that.
from,
The koala bears.
yeah, from down
Australia.
Australia.
But we
And they
sure
grew
have,
like weeds.
we sure have a lot of them.
It grew like.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have an awful lot
Awful
of them.
lot of them.
Yeah, we do.
But they're not natural.
Yeah,
I
they
just
were-
I
they
didn't-
were.
I didn't
know
There's
that.
so many of them.
Back in the late 1700s, somebody from Australia
Brought them over.
For wind
brought them
blocks.
over.
Wind blocks.
Wind blocks and
Yeah,
stuff.
my dad was
yeah.
a farmer, so.
But they burn like matchsticks.
Mhm.
If there's a fire,
Yeah, they
forget
have
about
just
it.
enough oil in them.
Forget about
In
it.
the eucalyptus.
Yeah, they go
burn.
up like canned rock.
Does anybody know where Airborne Road is?
Acorn?
What's that have
Acorn
to do
Road.
with eucalyptus,
Yeah,
John?
Out in Evergreen area.
Or never.
At one time, that was lined from the foothills to where Capitol Expressway would be. That was lined with eucalyptus
For
trees
the
all
wind
the way
break.
up and down.
Yeah.
Well, that's where, what, Marisu, one of the wineries is up there.
Yeah.
Mhm. And all that Evergreen area through the creeks and stuff, they have, it's been eucalyptus forever.
Mhm.
Oh, that's
So-
the name,
Pardon me?
that's the name, Evergreen.
For eucalyptus?
No, I mean, that's probably why the whole area there got the name of Evergreen for
Oh.
the community.
Oh, okay, yeah, there
Is
are a
it
lot of
evergreen?
evergreen trees in the
Yeah,
Yeah,
area,
a lot of oak
yes.
trees up there.
Yeah.
Used to be.
Mhm.
Huh.
Used to be all farms and orchards and
Mhm.
not anymore. They took them all out. I
Civilization.
knew people out there, I actually worked some of them when I was young.
Oh, yeah.
That's the hardest work you can do, I swear,
Is what, working in the orchards?
working fields.
Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah. That was my first job,
Christine spoke.
Mm.
was in agriculture, yeah.
Yeah, used to pick apricots and prunes and
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
all
Sure.
this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Got fired from having rotten apricot fights.
Oh, yeah.
Doing that to people. Get out of here.
If somebody wants to open my purse, there's an alarm that's going off.
Oh, is that what it is?
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the sound of it, it's
Yeah.
nice.
I know, it's
Timer?
chimes.
Either
Oh,
there or
is it?
Jingle Bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Timer.
It's inside her purse.
Christine just wanted to supply us with a little musical entertainment here.
I thought Santa Claus was flying over or
Okay.
something.
I think it's in the
Reindeer.
larger zipper area maybe.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Getting
hearing
louder.
it louder.
Getting louder.
Yeah.
Is that an alarm?
Yeah.
That's great.
No kidding, it is.
It's the first one I've heard that I really like.
There is a difference in here. I can see.
Another thing I work with is like acne scarring that somebody's had maybe their whole life. That can be reduced and eliminated as well.
You'd be big in Hollywood.
Pardon me?
You'd be big in Hollywood.
Hollywood,
I'd be busy in Hollywood.
Big,
Yeah.
it'd be big.
big.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a little story. Bob Rasmussen used to live in LA. And he, in those days, it wasn't called Regenesis, it was just called Bob's Work. And he did start to do a few weekends where he would teach people some basics about healing. And him and his wife, they showed me, they kept one of the registration roll of the day. And there were all, like well-known people, I can't remember the names now, but there were people, if any of us saw them, we'd say, oh yeah, those were
Wow.
people who were stars of the day. There's, like about 2/3 of the people were like name actors or maybe a director or something, yeah. How you doing, Christine? Now, this feels different to me. We'll see what you think in a little bit. Well, as we're winding down, is there any other questions anybody had, or anything, comments?
Yes, does this work on dental problems?
On what?
Dental.
Dental? Yeah, yeah. I have had some cases in working on dental problems, it's been helpful. Like I said, sometimes, you know, even on the enamel level, it can heal. Certainly with the gums, gum conditions, it's worked a lot. There's what's another dental problem?
Misalignment.
Misalignment?
Well,
How about bone loss? Some
Yeah.
people have
Oh,
experienced bone loss,
oh, yes.
right?
oh, yes.
I think that would be
Oh,
really good
yes.
for them.
Oh, yeah, bone loss, definitely.
An infection?
Hmm?
An infection?
Infection, oh, definitely infection, yeah. An example, this is something just happened recently, and speaking about infections in general, is there was a young woman who came in, and I'd worked with her before, and she said, you know, really what's going on with me today is you know, and you could tell she had the symptoms. She was coming down with some sort of flu, cold, you know, she's already, her throat was sore, you know, she had the usual symptoms and feeling miserable and energy low. And you know, she had to work the next day, and it was, you know, it was really important to go into work and everything. So anyway, long story short, so her session, so I worked on her for a full session, maybe a little bit extra, and her symptoms were 95% gone. And so that has happened with people where I work on them, and at the end of a session or shortly thereafter, even if they had all the symptoms of cold and flu, it goes away. Now, I can't say that happens every time, but pretty much every time, their symptoms will be reduced. So with her, it was almost complete reversal. I know the sore throat was completely gone. And her energy level, that was the most surprising thing, was, because this was already late in the evening, she'd already worked a full day. And she said, gosh, I feel like I could go back to work now. I said, well, don't do that. You know, if you can, take your Epsom salt bath, or at the very least, go home and get a lot of sleep today, and, you know, do something with the Epsom salts tomorrow, perhaps.
I know one thing, you work on the T&J.
Yeah, the
Because I know if you
TMJ.
get a lot of dental work,
Mm-hmm.
it'll really throw it off.
Mhm.
And that way you can get headaches and stuff
Yeah,
go on, don't knowing what, because it's not aligned. And he's worked on that on me before, so.
yeah.
And John, didn't I hear you say you had done some work on people that were HIV positive?
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they went from HIV positive to negative.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, by all the measures that they have, it's like they could not detect the virus in their system anymore. And so, yeah. How you doing? Good. Okay. All right, I'm gonna balance your chakras then, okay? So just, I'm gonna balance your chakras, if that's all right?
Oh, okay.
I know when I first learned hypnosis, I was thinking, this is
I
it.
took the heaters off.
This is good.
Yes.
You know, anything you wanna do, or anything you wanna stop doing, you can do it with hypnosis. And then I found that not everybody wanted to give it lip service, but they didn't wanna do the internal work to heal. As long, if I did it for them or to them, they would accept it, but they didn't wanna do any of the stuff
I
to
think
change their life.
I think a lot of people are that way. They want it
I was so disappointed.
done to them.
Yeah.
But they don't, because, you know, it's kind of hard. It's
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it is, but it was really disappointing because, you know, this healing can be instantaneous.
Right.
You don't have to feel that way because it's, sometimes you're planting a little tiny seed and it's one more step
Hey.
forward for them.
Yeah.
It's that little extra stone by the scales, you know,
Yeah. Well, I was
Still made a
so,
contribution.
I was
Okay.
so,
Yeah.
this is
Please take
great.
your time.
And then, you know, I became more and more jaded because it's like, well, if you're not gonna do it, why be here?
But aren't they getting a little something from it, even if they're not doing their part?
They might be, they probably are. You know, but I want, it's my, yeah, it's my,
It's,
We'll
my
call it.
idea.
Expectations.
Yeah, as much as their lack of an expectation, or whatever, you know, it's there. Between the two of us, I feel like I feel.
my chiropractor once
Oh,
told me
good.
that she's had clients
Good.
like.
Do you wanna look into the camera?
20 years. She's not sure when
Okay,
they come see
we're gonna
her, but
have
they can
Kristen
come
look in
see
the
her.
camera
Mhm.
with the same
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah.
Because they seem to
Yeah,
wanna
I
not
figured.
learn or know or understand anything.
Yeah.
They just-
If I may,
So she
Kristen,
says,
so-
well, I guess they're getting something from it.
the texture here feels different to me,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So feel yourself and just see what it feels like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's not quite as pronounced.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's come down a little bit, yeah.
Wow, I
Oh,
can
yeah.
really see a difference.
Oh, yeah, it's.
Was that like scar tissue?
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so it feels, the adhesiveness that was there is not as much, it just feels different. So with what I was doing, this is cutting edge, because I've been doing this since, it's been working. So what I did at the end, and your eyes were closed, you didn't see, but you might have felt my hands were like slowly moving up like this, but wasn't physically touching, is that uplifting thing with energy. And I find that it works. I find that it works. It gives a little bit more lift. So what I would look for in the days ahead, if we were to work on this more, see if this may, where it feels, the texture feels different. So again, the cells in there are energized. So this, you may find that this fills a little bit. Okay? All right?
Okay.
Yay.
Yes,
Woo.
good, that was great. Good.
Yay.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, and you got your water?
Yeah.
You got a sip of water, good? Yeah, just take it.
Okay. Da-da-da.
All right, well,
So, thank you all very much, thank you all very much. I really appreciate you all being here, and please, those of you I didn't get to tonight, you know, I will get to you whenever you wanna give me a call.
I'm gonna
We'll
stay
set
this
something up.
ugly now, huh?
What?
Thank you, John.
No, you're handsome, and your future handsomeness is going to
okay.
emerge even more.
I'm handsome on the inside.
That too, yeah.
So thank you,
Okay.
and so
Thank you all so very much for being here. I
be sure and
really
get a card
appreciate
so
it.
that you can call them.
Pardon me?
Be sure and get a card or whatever, so you can give them a call.